If you're lucky enough to have a Virgin Voyages vacation planned in 2026, there are a few changes you'll want to know about and some really exciting updates and some new things that I'm going to tell you about that are coming up in the next year. So whether you've sailed on Virgin Voyages before or 2026 will be your first time sailing with the brand, I'm going to tell you about the 6 big things that are coming up in the new year. I'm David from VV Insider, and we're going to take a look at why 2026 will be a transformative year for Virgin Voyages and what that means for you as a sailor, including some fantastic new itineraries with destinations where Virgin Voyages have never been before, incredibly exciting news about how entertainment is changing across the fleet, and some information about the remodeling and renovation of Virgin Voyages' second ship in the fleet, Valiant Lady, and what that means for the fleet going forward. So take my word for it, 2026 is going to be a huge year for the brand, so come along as we take a look at what's new. VV Insider is the #1 resource for the latest Virgin Voyages info, guides and news. From picking the perfect cabin to booking dining, or simply just making the most of your voyage and saving money while you do it, VVinsider.com has helped thousands of sailors around the world sail smarter. Support our work by hitting subscribe and stick around to hear how you can get exclusive perks by booking directly with us. So to kick things off, we're talking about something that is genuinely once in a lifetime. And these are 2 specific sailings that you will remember for the rest of your life, guaranteed. I'm talking, of course, about the 2 solar eclipse voyages that are taking place in the new year. There will be a total solar eclipse happening on the 12th of August next year. 2 of the Virgin Voyages ships just happen to be in the European region where this will occur. The path of the solar eclipse will be passing through the Arctic, Iceland, Greenland, the Atlantic Ocean, and Spain. And not 1 but 2 Virgin Voyages sailings will be specifically rerouted so sailors can get a great experience of the solar eclipse when it happens in August. There are 2 sailings where this will be the case. The first one is setting sail on August 5th on Valiant Lady, on a sailing called Eclipse in the Land of Ice and Fire. This particular sailing leaves from Portsmouth before heading to Ireland, then heading back to the UK to visit Liverpool and Belfast, before setting sail for 2 sea days before they reach Iceland. And on the last of these sea days, on the 12th of August, that is where Valiant Lady will reposition herself to make sure she gives sailors the best experience of the total solar eclipse. This of course will always be weather dependent. If it's overcast conditions, there's not a lot the captain will be able to do, but rest assured they will try everything that they possibly can to make sure you get a really good view of that very special solar eclipse. The sailing then makes 3 stops in Iceland before returning back to the UK via Edinburgh in Scotland and then heading back to Portsmouth. The second solar eclipse sailing sets sail from Barcelona on August the 10th, this time on Scarlet Lady. She heads over to Mallorca for day 1, and then after that, it's the sea day on the 12th of August where the eclipse will be seen. You are in the Mediterranean, so you do have a better chance of nicer weather, but of course the weather doesn't always work like that, so a little bit of good luck is needed. The rest of the sailing includes ports in Spain, Italy and France, before finishing up in Rome, Italy. Bookings for both of these voyages have been open for a while now, but there are still some cabins left, so if you're looking to get booked onto there, head over to vvinsider.com/book to not only get the best rates, but also make sure you bag all of those exclusive perks that we can give you at VV Insider as well. The second thing to look out for in 2026 is another point about destinations and itineraries, and this one's a big one. 2026 will mark the first time that Virgin Voyages make their way through the Panama Canal and end up in the west coast of North America. Brilliant Lady launched in September 2025, and it was announced earlier in 2025 that the big change for Brilliant Lady will be that the lifeboats are on a new system designed to bring the lifeboats in to allow the ship to meet the width requirements to pass through the Panama Canal. Well, she'll be using that system in earnest in March 2026 when she makes her first journey through the Panama Canal on her way to Los Angeles. This is on a sailing that leaves Miami on March 21st. This is a huge 16-night sailing which will take Brilliant Lady through Colombia, Panama, Guatemala and Mexico before arriving in Los Angeles. Brilliant Lady's first passage through Panama Canal will be on the 26th of March, stay tuned to vvinsider.com for more news as that sailing occurs. This will be a truly historic day for the Virgin Voyages brand because it opens up so many new itineraries and destinations on the west coast of North America. Brilliant Lady's next passage through Panama Canal will be in October, where she returns to Miami for the winter season. Both the westbound and the eastbound crossings of the Panama Canal next year are open for booking. These voyages did sell incredibly well when they first opened up last year, but if you're looking for those remaining cabins, again, head over to vvinsider.com and we'll check the availability and the offers available for those remaining cabins for you. Now, staying with Brilliant Lady for just one more moment, the third thing to look out for in 2026 are the brand new Alaska itineraries. Alaska is that a major next step after the Panama and LA crossing, and Virgin Voyages are really looking forward to bringing Brilliant Lady to Alaska. Virgin Voyages have put a huge amount of effort and time into understanding what makes an Alaska voyage really tick, and they've broken it down really into two main themes. One is the onboard experience and allowing people to really feel the scenery. So the interior spaces of Brilliant Lady have been redeveloped last year to allow for people to see more of the scenery outside of the ship. This can really be seen in two major areas on board the ship. The first one being the new roundabout space. Compared to her sisters, Brilliant Lady has a much more open and airy feel, where a lot of the architectural elements had actually been removed to allow sailors to see out of the windows a 360 view of the scenery on either side of the ship. And after sailing on Brilliant Lady earlier this year, I can say that the roundabout on Brilliant Lady really gives the other ships a run for their money when it comes to the interior design. The roundabout area on Brilliant Lady is a really lovely place to sit and relax, and although the architectural changes to the roundabout are quite slight, it does make a huge difference in being able to see out of the windows. It's a really nice place to sit. It's all warm and snug, and you can see out of those large windows. So that'll be great when the ship is passing through those glacial views and all of the wonderful wildlife and scenery that Alaska has to offer. The second place where this is going to be really noticeable is the new Athletic Club. The Athletic Club is at the very back of the ship, and if you've been on any of the other Virgin Voyages sister ships, you'll know that historically there was a large red sunbed, which was described as the largest sunbed at sea, which is all well and good, but it did block the view to those that wanted to see the scenery outside of the ship. Well, Virgin Voyages have made a change on Brilliant Lady and removed that large sunbed and changed the furniture so you can actually see all the way around the back of the ship from the Athletic Club now. If you haven't been on Brilliant Lady yet, trust me, this makes a huge difference. And if the weather is nice enough, or if you're bundled up enough to stand out there, as you're passing through these Alaskan scenic vistas, it'll be a really lovely place to experience that from. Another non-tangible area that Virgin Voyages have really tried to focus in on for these Alaska sailings is the idea that shore things are now going to be very specific to the location that you visit in Alaska. So the Virgin Voyages team have done a lot of work to source some really unique experiences for sailors to enjoy. So if you're looking to do something really unique in Alaska, have a look at the Virgin Voyages shore things, and you can see those either on the website or on the app, and have a look at the type of experiences that you can book in Alaska on Virgin Voyages. One thing to really note though with Virgin Voyages going to Alaska is that there are no other cruise lines that really have this type of vibe, this fun, nightlife loving, inclusive dining experiences in those Alaskan itineraries. Often the types of cruise lines that go to Alaska are quite stuffy and not the same vibe as Virgin Voyages. So I think actually having Virgin Voyages in Alaska will be a really unique experience. And even if you've been to Alaska before, I think doing it with Virgin Voyages will be a new experience entirely. What I will say though is that there hasn't been a ton of cold weather voyages on Brilliant Lady yet, so we'd love to see what this really looks like in earnest. So we'll be taking a really close look at Brilliant Lady when she moves into the Alaskan season, and we'll be keeping you up to date on here. Which reminds me, just to get you to check now, are you subscribed to this channel? Because if you're not, you're going to miss out when we hear about all these new things coming up in 2026. So make sure that you stay subscribed to this channel for even more information on news and guides on Virgin Voyages as 2026 unfolds. Moving on to number 4, and this is all about entertainment. This means new shows not only on the ship, I'm also talking about entertainment from Virgin Voyages moving onto land. Let me tell you more about that. So first of all, just to mention that 2025 was a huge year for entertainment on Virgin Voyages, including the launch of all the new Brilliant Lady entertainment and shows, which was a huge amount to cover in the first place, but they actually launched brand new shows on Scarlet Lady as well, including something that's went down incredibly well with audiences on Scarlet Lady. So of course, first off on Brilliant Lady, there was a huge amount of new shows and entertainment, with the big standouts being the two headline shows, including Out of Time and Red Hot, as well as a brand new dinner cabaret show called Up With a Twist, which is a personal favourite of ours here at VV Insider. Over on Scarlet Lady, there was actually a brand new show called Booked, a Lola's Library story, which acts as a prequel to a show that's seen on Resilient Lady, due to the popularity of that show over on Virgin Voyages' third ship, Resilient. Now, we've heard some teasers already that 2026 will be bringing some new entertainment on board. We're not sure about exactly what form that will take or which ships it will be on. We're assuming Valiant Lady for reasons I'll come on to in just a moment. But there was also an announcement that some of the entertainment that you've seen on board the Virgin Voyages ships is actually making its way on land in 2026. Now, this might sound quite bizarre from a cruise company, but actually Virgin Voyages are not a newcomer when it comes to moving the ship shows onto land, with Dual Reality having performances on land over the past year or so. And if you've seen Dual Reality on any of the Virgin Voyages ships, you'll know exactly why. Some of the entertainment that has been designed to be on board is world-class enough to make its way onto land as well, with Virgin Voyages themselves investing in a 30,000 square foot rehearsal facility in Orlando, Florida. It's been announced that the show Booked, a Lola's Library story, which is the prequel to Lola's Library, will be getting an on-land production as well. This doesn't mean that it's leaving the ship. In fact, all it means is that it received such good feedback that they're looking to bring a land-based production of this in 2026. One other bit of news around this, and the only other thing that we've had confirmed about moving to land, is that Scarlet Knight will actually make its on-land debut in 2026. If you've ever been on any of the Virgin Voyages ships before, and you participated in Scarlet Knight, which is the big red-themed party that Virgin Voyages put on with the octopus goddess, all manner of incredible things that happen on Scarlet Knight. If you want to know more about Scarlet Knight, we have a video all about that, and I'll link it in the comments. But Scarlet Knight itself is actually making its way to Virgin Hotels, with the first two on-land Scarlet Knights going ahead in Virgin Hotels in London Shoreditch and Virgin Hotels Las Vegas. We don't know exactly when this is going to happen, but we know that it will be in 2026. So again, stick around and stay subscribed to vvinsider.com so we can tell you exactly what we know as soon as we know it. But all of these changes and all of these productions will be happening under a new production house, which is called Screw It, Let's Do It Productions, which has been set up by Virgin Voyages to make these new productions happen. Being huge fans of the entertainment on board Virgin Voyages, we'll be taking a good look at this in the new year and bringing you all the information as soon as we have it. So the fifth thing to look out for in 2026 is more specialized and themed voyages. If you've not been on a speciality or a themed voyage before, here's what you need to know. So a speciality voyage is all themed around the things that are happening on the calendar at the time of the voyage, with sailings tied to things like music and culture and world events. And we've already seen a lot of these speciality voyages in the past. So if you've been lucky enough to go along to one of the celebration voyages before, this is often where you'll see things like Richard Branson showing up, or special fireside talks by the Virgin Voyages executives. The celebration voyages have actually been renamed Red Hot Sailings. But then we've also seen speciality voyages around particular music events. So for example, very recently, there's been a Nicky Jam voyage with programming that was designed around the artist Nicky Jam. There's also been in the calendar the Eat and Drink Festival voyages, where the menus around the ships actually get some brand new addition with some featured items only for those Eat and Drink Festival sailings. Then of course you've got some special sailings that are hosted around Halloween and the holidays. Well, 2026 kicks off with a well-being season, with voyages that have special programming added to the schedules all around well-being. Virgin Voyages have made a pledge to say that these speciality and these theme sailings will feature more heavily as the itineraries are announced in the future. And the schedule in 2026 already includes a huge number of these speciality and themed voyages. These particular sailings are really good for those of us that have sailed with Virgin Voyages multiple times in the past and are looking for something a little bit different. So we're really excited to go along to one of the Eat and Drink Festival voyages in the new year. Because although we do love the food on board the Virgin Voyages ships, it is nice to have something new every now and again. If there are any particular speciality or themed voyages that you're looking forward to, let us know in the comments. So the thing we're looking forward to the most in 2026 is the Valiant Lady dry dock. So it's been confirmed that Virgin Voyages' second ship, Valiant Lady, is due to enter a dry dock period on the 9th of May 2026. For those in the know, you'll already know that 2 of the Virgin Voyages ships have already been in for a dry dock. The first one being Scarlet Lady at the end of 2024, and then Brilliant Lady went in for a dry dock before summer in 2025. That was a slightly unscheduled dry dock, and that was to get her ready for her big launch. But Valiant Lady has been in service since 2022, and she's ready for a lick of paint. So if you're not familiar with what a dry dock is, this is where they take the ship fully out of commission for 2 weeks, and they go top to bottom to make sure the ship is fighting fit and ready for a few more seasons on the water. And the reason why people like us get very excited by the notion of a dry dock is that this is Virgin Voyages' opportunity to make some big changes to the ship before she heads out for the next few years. And personally, we think in particular, Valiant Lady is a perfect candidate for this treatment. So what are we expecting to see? Well, we don't have any concrete information from Virgin Voyages about what to expect out of Valiant Lady, but there are a few things that we've been theorizing about. The first one being the restaurants. So if you've been following along, you'll know that Scarlet Lady had a brand new restaurant when she came out of her dry dock in 2024, and this was called Lucky Lotus by Razzle Dazzle. This is where Razzle Dazzle, which traditionally served up American comfort food, changed entirely to Lucky Lotus by Razzle Dazzle, which was an Asian-themed restaurant. This, of course, is a huge change of direction, and it was very welcome to see, especially from many sailors that have been on the Virgin Voyages ships in the past and wanted a little bit of a change. Then we had Brilliant Lady's dry dock before she launched in September 2025. And right enough, we got another brand new Razzle Dazzle. This time we got Rojo by Razzle Dazzle, which is a Spanish-themed restaurant. We also saw some big changes to the structure of the ship, including a brand new roundabout area and a brand new athletics club that I mentioned earlier in this video. Well, that brings us on to Valiant Lady. What will we expect to see? Well, the correlation would indicate that we're going to get a brand new restaurant in Razzle Dazzle, which means a new world cuisine will be on offer on the ship. Now, we can only speculate at this point what type of cuisine we might see in Valiant Lady, but I'd like to know your thoughts. What do you think the next world cuisine will be when Valiant Lady relaunches after her dry dock in the new year? Let me know in the comments what you think. But that leaves us with the question of, will there be any other material changes to Valiant Lady that we'll expect to see? So will she, for example, get the same treatment that the roundabout got on Brilliant Lady? But personally, I'd love to see if there's anything brand new. I think these are the things that we can easily predict are going to happen. But actually, I think this is really Virgin Voyages' opportunity to surprise us all and maybe change an area on the ship that we're not expecting. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens with this new dry dock. Whatever happens, we'll know for sure on the 25th of May when the newly relaunched Valiant Lady starts the Amalfi Coast, Cannes and Ibiza sailing, which is a 6-night sailing from Rome on the 25th of May. Again, that is available to book right now. So if you want to say you're one of the first sailors on the brand new Valiant Lady, then head over to viviansider.com. We have all the availability, pricing and booking details available for you there. So those are the big 6 things we know are coming down the track for Virgin Voyages in 2026. I wonder if there's anything that you think is coming up in the new year that we've missed, or if there's any wishful thinking that you've got that you'd like to see from the Virgin Voyages brand over the next year. let me know in the comments if there's anything that I've missed. Well, with that comes the end of my work here in 2025. It's been a pleasure letting you know all about the Virgin Voyages news over the last year. We have so much planned for the new year, including a bunch of sailings, and we're going to bring you a lot more from the actual voyages themselves. I know over the past year, I've been sitting down and telling you about all the things that are going on board. Well, we're going to try and capture more footage when we're actually on the ships to show you what it's like when we're actually sailing. So stay tuned for all that and stay subscribed for those new start videos when we start sailing at the end of January. And just a note in general, we have some really exciting plans for vvinsider.com, the website that we run alongside this YouTube channel. vvinsider.com is where all of this began, and it's where you can find all of the guides, the content, and the tools that we use to drive this YouTube channel. We always ask for sailor feedback, and our website only gets better when you tell us where we're going wrong. So please give us all the feedback that you have, and we'll make sure everything is shipshape over on our website. Just one more thank you to you this year for coming along on this journey, watching these videos, using our website, and booking your next Virgin voyage with us. That's helped support the channel and also producing the website as well. So if you're thinking about booking your next Virgin voyage, the best way to do that is to head over to vvinsider.com/book. It doesn't cost you any extra. You pay exactly what you would pay if you were to book on the Virgin Voyages website. The only difference is that you'll be helping support the work that we do, and you'll be getting some extra perks as well. So it's a win-win, it really is. So that's all from me. I'm wishing you an incredibly happy 2026 to yourself and your family. So thank you so much and happy sailing.